Hi y'all, welcome and welcome back. In this video, we're looking at another major ethical theory, just war theory. This is the idea that war can sometimes be justified, but only under strict conditions. This theory helps us analyze conflict in Game of Thrones and in real life. Before we dive in, just a quick word of warning. This video contains major spoilers for both Game of Thrones and George R. R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire. So if you don't want to see information about important character deaths and plot twists, you may want to pause this and come back to it after you have seen Game of Thrones or read A Song of Ice and Fire. But if you're not worried about spoilers, let's go head into the moral chaos that is Westeros. So, just war theory goes all the way back to philosophers like Augustine and Aquinas, but it's been shaped in modern times by thinkers like Michael Walzer. The theory gives us three main tools for judging war. Jus ad bellum, when is it okay to start a war? Jus in bello, how should war be fought once it begins? And jus post bellum, how should we behave after the war ends? According to just war theory, you can only start a war if certain conditions are met. First, you need a just cause, like defending innocent people or responding to aggression. You also need the right intention, not revenge, profit, or conquest, but a genuine aim to restore peace. Third, that decision must come from a legitimate authority, a recognized government or state, and not a rogue general. Fourth, war should only be a last resort after all peaceful means have failed. Fifth, it must have a reasonable chance of success, because a hopeless war is not justified. And finally, the cost of war must not outweigh the benefits, and the cause itself must be just enough to merit war's horrors. Even in war, morality still matters. Just war theory says how you fight must be ethical too. First, there's proportionality. You must only use the force that is necessary. Second, you must engage in discrimination. That means you must distinguish between soldiers and civilians. Civilians should never be targeted. If civilian deaths occur, they must meet the double effect principle, which says they must be unintended, not worse than the expected good, and unavoidable to achieve that good. Finally, military necessity means that every action must serve a real military goal, not cruelty or vengeance. Some scholars, like Brian Orand, suggest a third piece, justice after war. What comes next? From punishing crimes to helping rebuild, Jus post bellum reminds us that moral responsibility doesn't end when the fighting does. A clear example is Daenerys in the final season of Game of Thrones. After King's Landing surrenders, she attacks anyway, burning civilians, children, and refugees. From a just war perspective, this is a major violation. It breaks the rules of discrimination and proportionality. Even if her cause was just, her conduct made it unjust. We can also revisit Tywin Lannister's Red Wedding. Even though it ends a war, it does so by violating basic codes of honor and hospitality. The massacre occurs under sacred guest right, so this is a clear betrayal. From a just war lens, it may achieve peace, but through unjust methods. On the other hand, Jon Snow shows more ethical restraint. He builds alliances, even with former enemies, to stop the Night King and the army of the dead. He avoids unnecessary violence and values civilian lives. Jon may be one of the few leaders in Westeros to practice something close to just war principles. So what do you think? Can war ever be moral? Even if a cause is just, does using unjust methods cancel it out? Just war theory challenges us to hold leaders accountable, not only for why they fight, but how they fight. For more Game of Thrones and philosophy content, please check out the videos on pop culture and philosophy, Game of Thrones, the excessive vice of honor, and dirty hands in Game of Thrones. Alright y'all, that's all for now. Thanks for watching and have a great day.